Masks. They're very iconic to Bionicle, and every single design looks so frickin' cool. But can we use these pieces for more than just faces? Cause dude, these parts have a lot of mocking potential. So come with me, and let's take a peek at masks from across every year of Bionicle, from 2001 to 2010. Let's give you ideas for how you can use these pieces in your own custom creations. 2001 is kind of like a legendary year for masks. So many iconic designs, so many color variants. But let's focus on the Ruru, which was Turaga Wenua's mask. A builder called Sadie uses two of them in medium blue to help with parts of the torso, which looks brilliant. Clever thinking to branch out the arm outside of the hole at the top of this mask. It's a good look. Moko also uses this mask as kind of like armor plating on the top of the head. I like that the shape of it is quite similar to the shape of the shoulders. And also just the way the mask has been placed. You know, the eyes branch directly out of the bottom. You can barely tell that there's a gap at the top of the head because the armor is so close to it. Because of all of this, you can barely see that this is actually a mask. It just looks like armor. Very nice. And one more for good measure, you can also use this mask for armor on the hands. Sweet. Another amazing mask from 2001 is the Huna, the mask of Turaga Vakama. Now, the best thing about this mask is the fact that there is a giant hole at the very top. You can branch all sorts of stuff out of this and use it to make good stuff. Like we see here from Awesomeness Born. Strapping a trans blue eye on the front and turning it into a frickin' dinosaur head, a robotic dinosaur head. Splendid. Gord Builds also makes great use of this mask. It looks dope as knee armor, but it also looks pretty good here on the torso. Two MOCs now that are using masks with holes in it to branch out the arms. And why not? Here's one more mask. This is Onoamata's mask. If you get a few of them together, you can kind of create some sort of segmented back on a bug. And I mean, you could do this with any mask. So if you happen to have a large supply of one mask, do this. It's gonna look great. Over to 2002, the year of the Toa Nuva. And let's kick it off with Gully Nuva's mask. Alex C. Parsons uses it for bulky shoulder armor. I mean, masks for shoulder armor is a classic technique. It always looks pretty good. Switching it up now to Liwa Nuva's mask. A builder simply called Jim has used it for the torso. Yet placing it upside down is a great way to make it not look like a mask. Now you can just focus on the nice grooves and rivets. It is pretty. The same mask has been used by New Montag, and look at this! Using it for hair. Whether that's a funky fringe, or for the very tips of the hair as well. Isn't that clever? And the last mask, from 2002, we have Kapaka Nuva's mask. Mr. Boltron uses it for the shell on a little tortoise. And this is cool because the scope eye, now it kind of reminds me of like barnacles growing off the sides of a shell. It's a bit of an unconventional way of using this mask, but I think it's clever. Or if you want, you could use this mask in a different way. If you look closely, you'll see a silver one tucked inside this bit of rock. Sometimes that's actually the best way to use an element. You cover up like 50% of it with other pieces, and you only focus on the areas that you want to see. So for this year, let's talk about Takanuva's mask. Not the gold one, the silver one. This appears on Makuta, and using them for claws? Genius. Although another genius way of using it is what Velocijactor has done. You pair it with Matau Hordika's mask, and you use it for a jaw. Oh man. And it's also nice too to see a dinosaur. We've seen a lot of humanoid stuff so far, but that doesn't mean you can't use these on creatures, rahi, dinosaurs, whatever. And here we have another example of how good it looks for shoulder armor. I'm telling you man, masks as shoulders, it is always gonna look good. Over to the year of the Toa Metru. Let's kick things off with Nuju Metru. Eclipse Caller uses two of these masks. Here they become some fancy looking torso armor. But what I love about this is, you might not have noticed it, the design is asymmetrical, because the scope eye is at a different spot on either side. That's just how the mask works. But I kinda didn't even notice that. You'd think that because it's asymmetrical, it just wouldn't look good. It would look a bit off. But no, it works well. And now let's take a look at Mutau's mask. Garlic Bonks places this on top of Nadiki's head. This is nice. You can just focus on those two lines down the middle. You branch some teeth and some pincers out of the bottom, it's great. And the same idea is used here, but then it's being paired with the same look directly underneath it. And look at how the shoulder pads kind of neatly insert themselves in between both masks. This is so clean, so compact, so pretty. And there's just such great flow between the head and the torso. It's good. The Hordika era gave us a lot of interesting masks, and one of my personal favorites is this one from Iruni. But here we can see it neatly tucked away in the torso. I like how some of these other armor pieces kind of wrap over the top. When they're all used in conjunction like this, you get yourself a bit of a bigger and bulkier armor design. It's got more heft. Or you could use this on a different version of Nadiki. I like how the protruding cheekbones that originally are on the mask, now they become horns. Oh yeah, and then getting a few bar pieces and attaching studs on the end to give him eyes. You attach that simply by shoving those pieces into the eyes of the actual mask. Probably a bit of an illegal technique, but it does look good. And finally, what about Nakama's mask? Well, check it out. Philbricks flips it around and uses it for the head of this little sea creature. I like this textured bit on the mask. There is something quite aquatic about that. The look of it fits right at home on sea creatures. Maybe that's what you should do yourself with some of your own masks. Study the textures, the shapes, the line work. The way it looks, the way it feels, might be a good indicator of how you can use it. The Age of the Anika. So these masks are not everyone's favorites. The rubber look, the very different design of them, yeah, they're not the best. But that doesn't mean that they don't have good mocking potential. Here, we can see it being used for the forehead on a little creature, which that in itself looks good. But when you also pair it with these teeth, it's even better. This lower jaw is actually the head on a Chima Ultra Build set. This is two good pieces in one spot, that's amazing. Such an original head design. Now let's look at Jala's mask. It's been used on this creation, and yeah, you can see it here on the torso. You might not have been aware of it, but yeah, the back of that mask has those two lime lines. And lime is kind of like a nice accent color on this mock, so using these for that is a good way to inject just a little bit more lime. I like it. But we can't forget Brutaka. You could use this mask for some sinister shoulders. Yeah, all the spikes and sharp edges on this mask. It's the perfect thing to include on a villain character. If you've got a villain that you're making and it has gold in the color scheme, you've got to get this piece. 2007, the year of the Mari. And Jala Mari had an incredible mask. Why not do what Eero Okononen has done and flip it around and turn it into hair? There's got to be other masks out there that look super good as hair. Hey, that's your mission. Go to your mask collection, flip them around and experiment. See if some of them work for hair designs. But what about the Baraki? It's up for debate if those heads are actually masks, but hey, we can still use them. Kraken Bonks uses it for details on the shoulders and the torso. And actually, all of this is localized on the back and the tail. So if you turn those lights off, all of the glow-in-the-dark pieces will be in one spot, and that's gonna look pretty cool. One of the most famous Bionicle masks from this year has to be the Mask of Life, worn by the incredible Toa Ignika. But if we turn this around, we rotate it, the mask becomes a perfect fit for a manatee. There is something so wonderful about this, especially with those black eyes on the edges. He's so cute. This is an exceptional part use, one that works way better than I would have thought. Or, let's focus on Onawa Mystica's mask. Thurok's Journey shows us that if you get two of them, it can look pretty good as torso armor. Because the mask itself is naturally very, big. So if you're building a big, bulky dude, it's a good fit. Here we go, 2009, an underrated year for sure. One of my personal favorite characters, Akar. He has this great mask that looks like it's literally made out of fire. And it looks like that because of the colors and the shape. And Lord Oblivion has taken full advantage of that. He surrounded it with other fire-themed pieces, And now it looks like this guy's arm is just engulfed in fire. And we also have Metis. This mask is fun, but it's even more fun when you use it as shoulder pads. I'ma just keep showing you the shoulder pads, man. It always looks good, especially with the energy of this. Those sharp dynamic lines. Oh, very nice. The final year for Bionicle was a bit of a celebration. We got 6 sets known as the Stars, and Tahu Stars was cool. His mask was a little bit different. It was smaller than the original one, and it had a different connection on the inside. And check it out. Get 2 of them and turn them into boxing gloves. I mean, it looks just like them. Well, what do you know? That's a bunch of different masks that actually look pretty sick when you don't use them as masks. Hopefully that's given you a few ideas for how you could use these pieces, or other pieces, in your own creations. And don't forget, by the way, to take a look at the links below. There you can find links to everyone I featured in today's episode. Thanks for watching, guys, happy building, and bye for now. I think that's the most amount of MOCs I've ever featured in one video. Maybe? I don't know.